Hey there, welcome to this Hangout, specifically for small and medium businesses. If you have any questions on Google search, in your website, Webmaster Tools, etc., we will be happy to answer your questions. Right now, we're waiting for people to join. We have a couple of questions in the Q&A app in this Hangout. We will take those questions in a bit. Okay, I think we'll just answer these questions, and in the meanwhile, probably people may join. Okay, so we have a first question from Florian. He says, and he specifically addresses John. Anyway, and he says, last year we get a, okay, basically the website was penalized, as he puts it, for bad linking, I believe. Okay, and can you please check this website for possible existing problems? Florian, what I would advise you is if you can probably submit your website into our Webmaster Tool, Webmaster Central forum. People there may be able to look up your website and see if there are any problems, because right now it is out of the scope of this Hangout to actually for us to like go in detail. Such kind of details with one website. So I think your best bet is to basically submit your website into the Webmaster Health Center forum.
Yeah, and I think we also mentioned that, or have we cleaned all the problems for Google? So if you've actually put in some, or if you've worked on cleaning your backlink profile, and if you believe that the links are all organic and is not violating our policies, you can also put it up for reconsiderations, and someone would have a look at it and accordingly decide if it's, if there is a manual action that should still stay or not.
Right, absolutely. And if you have just recently submitted your reconsideration request, then please know that it takes some time, maybe a couple of weeks, for us to get back. So yeah. Okay. Next question is from Renat from 500px.com. He says, okay, we would like to help users to promote their photos on the internet. We provide meta info for every photo in HTML as well as in the sitemap. Any other recommendations how we can improve ranking in Google image search? Thanks. Okay. I think there are quite a few things that you can do with images, like naming your images appropriately, I believe, right? That will help Google understand what the image is all about. For example, if there is a cup of coffee, Google wouldn't know if it is coffee or tea. How would Google know, right? So probably you can provide some information around that image. Maybe there could be some text on the page, the title of the page, or the name of the image itself, and the alt text. These are some of the things that you can do to help Google understand what the image is, understand the context and things like that. And I think specifically with websites like yours, where a lot of photographers contribute their photos and things like that, you can use other metadata like licensing information and things like that in your sitemaps to protect your images. That is another thing you can do. So yeah, I think those are a few things that you can do with your images. And probably you may want to go back and check our help center. We have a lot of information to guide you in this direction. Okay, so those were the couple of questions we got in the Q&A app. Usually we see this time in the mornings. We don't have a lot of audience in our Hangouts. When we do it in the afternoons, it is like fully occupied and a lot of viewers viewing. But we wanted to cover a broader region, like as an APAC. So we scheduled this Hangout in the morning here in India.
But we do see that there are some who are viewing it on YouTube.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it'll be great if we could get some live. I think we see a few more questions coming in.
Right. Okay. I think a few questions are actually trickling in right now. Okay. A question from James. He asks a really simple question, bit of a newbie to all of this. Anyway, what can Google do for small businesses that have websites? Cheers. Could you perhaps post a couple of links? Okay. There is a lot of advice we have for small and medium businesses to make their websites Google search friendly and mobile friendly, and we have a lot of resources. What I would ask you to do is visit our Google Webmaster Help Center page. I'll post the link to that here in the chat. And I'll also post a couple of links by the end of this Hangout, specifically which are for like newbies, right, to get started. Like we have the SEO, the SEO Google Starter Guide, and a couple of resources for people who are starting to learn about SEO and things like that. So I'll post a couple of links here. So do check your chat. There is another question from Amit. He says, Google centroid bias. Does Google still follows that? If yes, what can we do in a business GMB page to optimize better for local business? What other efforts can be made to optimize business locally? Okay, I'm not really sure what this Google centroid bias is all about. But you have, say, for example, Google Maps and Google My Business, where you can actually post your business, basically list your business, and then it may rank for local search queries. And then if you have information like, say, for example, your business information, your address, your phone number, things like that, probably you can use a rich snippet to call that information out so that Google understands your information better, and that may also help Google in basically listing your websites in local business, local search results. You may also have a Google Plus page which you can link to your website. So these are some of the things that you can do for better ranking of your local business in local search results. Okay, for the people who are viewing, please post your questions if you have any. I've posted a few links in the chat here that may be useful for the beginners. Okay, I don't see any questions coming in.
So we have a presentation that that we'd like to share, especially for SMBs. So this is at a basic level of if a website really wants to go have a mobile presence, some of the things that you need to look at. So let's just go through this, and if you get any questions, let's really take those through.
Yep. So we'll quickly go through some slides, and let's see if we get more questions. Okay, we do have a question before we head to the deck. So, okay. The question is, Google posted blog post about autocomplete and improving forms. We're going to see them about usability errors soon. Okay, I'm not sure what the question exactly means, but yes, we did post a blog post about autocomplete that basically improves user experience, right? Because filling forms is really, I mean, nobody would like to do that, right? So every website you go to, you have to put in the same information, and it is also error prone, so people may mistype their spelling, their email address, and things like that. So if you have the autocomplete on your forms, then basically browsers like Chrome can pull that information and fill those forms automatically for the user. So it really, really enhances user experience, especially when they are on mobile devices, because it is even more bad filling forms on the mobile devices. So that's a bit of advice we have posted on our blog. Okay, so I think we'll start presenting a deck that we have. This specifically talks about mobile websites and how you can optimize them and things like that, and basically the tools that we have that we provide to our users that they can use to identify issues with their mobile websites and also find information to basically fix those.
And we've intentionally kept it non-technical so that if you have people from the small and medium businesses who like to know and who are thinking of having a mobile presence, I think this would probably help.
Okay, I hope everyone is able to see the slides that are on the screen right now. If you have any questions, keep them posting. We'll be checking the Q&A app here constantly. So if there are any questions, we will address those as well. So yeah, let us take a look at some of the slides that we have put together specifically for small and medium businesses.
Right. So we'll try and cover it in 4 basic parts. So the first one's about some of the tools that we've brought out, to help our different users. So we'll talk a little about PageSpeed Insights. We also have a mobile-friendly test tool and a mobile usability feature. So some of these tools will, if you already have a mobile presence and you want to optimize it, or if you want to see if your site's meeting our our guidelines and the expectations, because we're talking about the mobile friendly algorithm, the change that's coming about. So I think we'll take you through some of these tools. Apart from that, we'll also discuss about viewport, zoom plugins. So these are some of the usability features and the best practices that we want, that you should be giving your users from a mobile standpoint. And of course, the third one about focus on users. We talk about tap targets. We'll talk about the font sizes for mobile, and of course some basic technical stuff about redirects and canonicals, because mobile's almost like it depends on what kind of strategy you want to go for, especially if you're using a different URL, right? Then you have to make sure that your redirects and canonicals are in order. So the first one, we'll look at some of the tools that we've got for you to check how your website's currently doing. One of the main thing that it comes to having a mobile website is make sure that you're focusing on your user, right? Because don't just think about replicating your desktop version to your mobile site. Think about what is it that your users want, what's the kind of user experience they're expecting on a mobile device. So you've got to, from a strategy standpoint, you've got to take a step back, get back to the drawing boards and actually think about, what are the features on your website that a mobile user would probably want to use, and make sure that you're focusing on that. Make sure that you're focusing on a great user experience to, so that the users are engaged with, your website on the mobile device as well. Of course, bad user experience can hurt your site's ranking, and this is true for desktop as well, but more so for mobile, because there's very little margin for error, right? Especially if even though you have great content, if you're not optimizing your device for, for mobile, it can be really frustrating for a user, especially if, your viewport's not adequate, or if your tap targets are too small, if the user's got to pinch and zoom zoom out, go left and right. I think it's going to be really frustrating. And one of the other things that you can do to, hurt your site's ranking is the speed aspect of it, because if you're not optimizing your website to be fast enough, you are giving the users a bad experience. And it can, of course, now with the algorithmic change, it can affect your ranking. And to make sure that a good user experience, we have different tools as well. And the mobile friendly test, the mobile usability tool, and PageSpeed Insights are three different tools that Google's come out with to help webmasters. And these are very easy to use. The interfaces are very intuitive, and I think it's anybody, even from a non-technical background, should be able to use them fairly straightforward without any complications.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of these tools are like basically at a very basic level, use very simple language so that non-technical users can also understand, like our mobile-friendly tools. And there are tools like PageSpeed Insights, for example, that gives in-depth suggestions, technical suggestions that probably the pro users can also like understand and then fix problems. So yeah, we have tools for actually everyone.
Yeah. So we look at each of these individually to just give you an idea about how the interface looks and what it does. So this is the mobile friendly test. Fairly straightforward. You put in your website and you click on analyze, and then you get based on Google's mobile friendliness factors, it determines whether your website is mobile friendly or not. And apart from that, it also gives you the reasons why that particular page is not mobile friendly, and it also gives you a screenshot of how the Google bot is rendering your page. And of course, in addition to that, you also get a bunch of suggestions and things that you can do to make your page mobile friendly. So this is something that I think we would highly recommend.
Right. And if you see, the suggestions are like in a very simple language. It says text too small to read, links too close together, right? So these are some of the things that anybody can understand. And we also have links to the resources on your right, and then links to a Webmaster Tools account where you can actually log in. And if you have this website added and verified in your Webmaster Tools account, then we have another tool that actually gives you in-depth data about each of your pages that may have these problems, and links to resources that you can use to actually fix those as well.
In addition, yeah, like I think we've covered most of this.
So yeah, as I said, this basically uses very simple language to to tell you what the problem is. And this tool specifically uses Googlebot to fetch your pages, unlike the PageSpeed Insights tool, which we will look at in the coming slides. And you can check one URL at a time. And this tool basically tests only for mobile friendliness, not for the page speed issues and things like those.
Yes. The next tool that we'll have a look at is the mobile usability tool. And this is a feature that we have in your Webmaster Tools account. So if there's anybody out there, especially the business owners, if you've not already signed in with the Webmaster Tools account, I think that's the first thing we'd recommend you to do, because it gives you, it's free, and it gives you a lot of insights about how Google is understanding the data from your website. How is it that you're doing in terms of traffic? If there are any issues, that's the place where you'd get to know. And even if there's any problem and we want to try and reach out to you, this is the only option available for us. So
really,
so we really recommend that you sign up with the Webmaster Tools account. And of course, the Webmaster Tools account has a mobile usability feature function under the search traffic tab, where you get a lot of different information that would be useful for you. Some of the things that you could probably look at are you can see the status of your mobile page at a particular point of time. It also gives you the history of if there have been any mobile usability issues. You can see if you're doing well to rectify them, or if the number of issues are increasing over time. And in addition to that, you can also see if there are any errors that are encountered on any of the pages. So these are all really useful, you know, information, especially when you're trying to, have a mobile. If you're trying to focus on mobile and you're trying to rectify issues and do well on search, I think this tool is really going to give you some useful insights.
Absolutely. The mobile-friendly test tool will give you an overview of the problem for the page you're checking, but if you get to Webmaster Tools mobile usability feature, then you can actually access in-depth information about each of the pages. For example, in the screenshot, we see that there are a few problems that Google detected on the pages that are listed here. And then now if you click on one of these usability errors, then you see more information about that particular error. Like, for example, okay, what are those exact pages on which this error was encountered, right? So we also have information like, okay, when was the page last scanned, meaning what is the latest day that we detected this error, and things like that. Now, after this, if you click on a given page that is listed here, it gives even more information and suggestions, like basically, okay, what you can do to fix this particular problem. So if I clicked on viewport not configured, that type of error, then it gives me links to resources and tells me what the problem actually is, and then how I can fix it. So this is, I think, very, very useful.
Yeah, and similar to the previous tool, this also uses Googlebot to fetch your pages, and it also it doesn't just give you the particular web page, but it also checks relevant subset of pages based on of your site as they are indexed, and it only tests on mobile friendliness. So it's basically like an advanced version of your mobile friendliness test with more insights.
Yeah, absolutely. So it gives a lot of information. So mobile friendly test tool, that tool is basically public. You can check any URL on that tool because it is open. And within the Webmaster Tools account, of course, you have to have your website verified, and it gives in-depth information about the problems on your pages. And then we have the third tool called the Page Speed Insights. Here, as you can see, this is not just about mobile friendliness, but as the tool itself says, it is also about page speed, right? Because that is also kind of very important when it comes to good user experience. And this tool basically tests for both mobile and desktop, unlike the previous two tools, which only tests for mobile. And it it gives you, I mean, there are different types of things that it'll show, different types of like issues there may be with your pages that it highlights, including the issues related to the page speed of your pages.
Yeah, one interesting thing about PageSpeed Insights is it also gives it looks at two different aspects. It's giving you speed related information, and it also telling you giving you a score based on the user experience. So you're not just getting if you look at this example on your screen, it tells you like from user experience perspective, the kind of recommendations that are being given are with regard to the font sizes, the tab targets, configuring the viewport. So these are some of the these are all areas that one could kind of work on from a user experience point of view. And in addition to this, it also gives you recommendations from a speed perspective, or how you could make a particular web page or a website faster on mobile. So like when you're looking at speed, it's talking about optimizing images, and it's also talking about eliminating render blocking of JavaScript and CSS. So these are some of the recommendations that you'll get both from a user experience point of view and from a page speed point of view, both of which I think are super critical when it comes to a mobile version of a website.
Absolutely. And if you see, it also basically gives a score for these different types of things that it highlights, like user experience, the page speed, and things like that. So just by looking at the score, you can see if you're in a good position or not. And it gives, as I said, this is kind of an advanced tool, so it gives very specific tips that you can actually action upon. So it points out specific problems in your code, say for example, that you can use to fix the problems that were highlighted here. Unlike the previous two tools, this tool does not use Googlebot to fetch your pages. And again, this checks individual URLs, although there is an API that you can use to check pages in bulk. And as we mentioned, it tests for various best practices and provides you with specific guidance on each of these things. So here are some quick links that you can use. The first one is taking the mobile-friendly test, and then we also have a mobile Webmaster Mobile Guide, which actually discusses all these topics in depth. Things like viewport, things like CSS, media queries, font sizes, all of those stuff that can actually help you in making your websites mobile friendly. And of course, we also have a community for India webmasters, just like we have the global Google Webmasters community on our Google Plus. We also have it specifically for Indian webmasters, and all the webmasters from APAC are also welcome to join. You can access that community from g.co/IN webmasters. So I think that's all we had. Yeah, so we wanted to share these 3 tools that we have. Pretty straightforward and simple to use, and there are links to all the resources for in-depth knowledge if needed. So I think this was useful. So let us go back to the Hangout and see if there are any more questions. We have a lot of people watching this Hangout. I'm not sure why people are not joining in. And I don't see any more questions here. Okay. I hope people are able to join the Hangout. Please share this the Hangout invite page. Okay, I see people are not able to join the Hangout, I believe. I don't know for what reason, although we see. Um, okay, I think we'll continue to take questions that are coming in. Devin asks, hi, is viewport definition must, even if the CSS3 used to design responsive? So I think the question basically is, if I have a responsive website, should I still have the viewport defined? Viewport basically tells browsers to basically render the page according to the screen size, not the default desktop view, right? So yes, you must have a viewport defined on top of your pages when you have the responsive design. Okay, there is another question from Amit. He says, what do you suggest for the client which has long contact form and it shows two closed tab targets? What should we do in that case? Okay, so of course, fix the tab targets. I think there are guidelines as to like the average width of a idle finger is about 10 mm. So I think you can keep that in mind when you're designing your forms and when you have buttons and things like that. So basically for prominent things on the mobile page, try to use 10 mm as a standard gap between two elements, clickable elements. And if things are not very prominent, say for example your footer and things like that, then you can even have a smaller space, like for example 5 mm between those links. But yes, it is important for you to take care of these closed tab targets, because it is a very frustrating experience if users are trying to click on one link and they end up clicking on something else. That is not a very good user experience.
Yeah, and I think it's also worth looking into the strategy of having a very long contact form, right? So
I think so, yes, that's a good point.
Because if you're trying to, just give information to your users to, get in touch with you or leave a message, I think you've got to maybe look at what is it that is really important and maybe leave out things that aren't as important.
Okay, and the question from Amit again. Mobile SERP and searches from Google Now or voice search gives some queries like X business near me. What can be done to optimize any site for queries in voice search or for queries like I mentioned above? Okay. So there is nothing special or different you would want, required to do for you to show up in search results when somebody is using their voice to search. That's just a medium of searching. Either they type or they use their voice, depending on the device. Now, of course, with the mobile friendly ranking change coming into effect from April 21, you would definitely want your websites to be mobile friendly. Otherwise, if people are using voice on their mobile devices, which is where it is prominently used, and if your website is not mobile friendly, then it may not rank very well. So that is one thing you should take care of. But otherwise, there is anything special that you need to do to rank for voice search queries. Okay, there's another question from Amit. A lot of questions from Amit. We have tried getting videos to rank in Google search. We have implemented all the schema markup and other media attributes. Meta attributes necessary, but we hardly see the videos to rank. What inputs do we need to make for videos to rank better? Okay, so it looks like you have done good work on your videos, like adding the schema markup and meta attributes and things like that. I hope you have also submitted a video sitemap for us to discover all your videos, and I hope all your JavaScript, CSS, and all those files, and these videos, all these links are also actually crawlable, because we have seen sometimes that these resources are blocked, and that is one of the reasons why we are not able to understand the websites better and then rank them better. So make sure that you do not block any important resources that help in rendering your pages. That is another thing you can do. But otherwise, even after doing all these things, if you don't see your videos ranking, there could be n number of reasons. You know, there may be better videos from your competitors on the same subject or whatever, you know. So ranking, I mean, there is no guarantee on ranking. You can actually do a lot of other things beyond search, like say, for example, promoting your videos on social media and interacting with your customers, building that, you know, brand in the internet space, so that that can be recognized by Google on a larger or a broader scale, and then probably you will have you will start seeing your videos ranking. So basically what I mean to say is make sure that you have good quality content, good quality videos, and plus you're also doing the right things to keep your users engaged and provide them the value that you can.
Right, I think Devian's got a follow-up. He says, thank you for the previous answer. One more. Does Googlebot Mobile read content hidden inside tab comes up on click? Okay, I think he's talking about like in case of responses where you have
Right, absolutely.
yeah, it does. So in fact, if you're not sure of what the Googlebot sees, you can always do a fetch as Google to exactly see the kind of content that the Googlebot's looking at. So typically, what happens is we do not Googlebot basically disables all CSS elements and looks at the content as it is. So even if it's hidden, as long as you're not cloaking the content, it's absolutely fine. So that content's being read as well.
Okay, we have yet another question from Amit. We have configured viewport configuration and also site navigation through JSON LD, but still Vimasa tool says that site navigation element is missing from your pages. Does Google take time to discover those changes and show breadcrumbs for any site? Again, using this extra information, showing breadcrumbs and things like that in the search results is not a guarantee. It may depend on a lot of factors that we consider while ranking pages. So, I'm sorry. So even if you have implemented all the markup correctly, it is not a guarantee that they may appear. However, I would want, once you implement all these things, definitely make sure that there are no errors. I'm sorry, I am having a bad throat. Yeah, so basically I was saying, go back and check if there are any errors and things like that. But otherwise, again, make sure you're providing value to users, and providing good quality content, things like that. Probably focus on your users and see on the conversions rather than just focusing on if your breadcrumbs are appearing in the search results or not. Focus should be on, like, is the conversion really happening or not? Okay.
Have we taken them all?
I think so. Okay, we have another question. It says, on dynamic mobile site based on user agent, if I show mobile bot shorter title, mobile friendly, and desktop bot longer one, does it consider as manual or what? Okay, so what we basically want you to do is, when Googlebot is visiting your mobile version or desktop version, just treat Googlebot as a user, right? So whatever you would serve your users, serve Googlebot exactly the same content. So of course, Google may not definitely be happy if you're serving something else to your users and something else to Googlebot. So keep that in mind. Um, yeah, and I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Are we missing any questions here? Okay, I don't see any more questions. If you have any questions, we still have like about 10 minutes.
I think Nilesh has one. He's asking if we can forward the presentation. So what we can do is we can share all the resources that we've used to put this together at the end. So we'll put them in the description of the video. So if I think we've only talked about the major tools that you could use. So we definitely share those links.
Yeah.
So we have 10 more minutes to go. So let's hang around for a couple of minutes more, and if there's nothing else, we'll close this for now.
Okay. Looks like there was some error. We suddenly dropped off this Hangout. Okay, there is a question from Lovell. He says, low priority question, how you guys doing? Hi Lovell, we're doing great. I hope you're doing well as well.
For those of you who are wondering why
Yeah.
I'm smiling, so Lowell was one of our colleagues at SQE, and we miss you, Lowell. I hope you're doing well.
We are here for a couple of more minutes, so if you have any questions, feel free to post.
So I think we have one more question from James asking, where can we find all the resource links? So we'll put them up. I think we'll definitely do that.
Right, absolutely. We have already posted some links in the chat here, but we will post these in the description of the video after the Hangout. Okay, looks like there are no more questions.
Yeah.
So thank you for all your questions, and we are planning another hangout in a week's time, and then we'll also have our regular office hour hangouts at the end of this month. So see you guys again.
Yeah, and we plan to do the hangout on the same day at the same
Yeah.
time. So if you have any feedback or if the time doesn't work, please leave that in comments so we can schedule it
Yeah.
accordingly, because we kind of kept chosen to do it at 11 a.m. Indian Standard Time because we're keeping the entire APAC region and Australia in mind. But if you think there's another time that would suit you guys better, please do let us know. Leave that feedback in the comment section.
Okay, great. Thanks everyone for
All right.
asking
Thank you.
questions.
See you.
Bye-bye.